Chapter 15. We still here. That bitch dead, but something else out there might be looking for it. The sun came up looking guilty, shy, like it ain't want to shine too hard on bent horn and see what the fuck it left behind. Sky was a dirty orange, smeared like a blood stain across the clouds, and the whole damn town looked like somebody tried to erase it but ran out of bleach. Smoke sat on top of the rusted roof of his old auto shop, legs dangling over the edge, hands still wrapped in bloody cloth. His body ached like hell, ribs barking from the sewer crawl, burns itching under his hoodie. He hadn't slept. Wouldn't sleep. Sleep was for people who ain't watched a town scream itself to death. Down below, silence crawled like a disease through the streets. Burnt cars, busted windows, piles of clothes with no bodies in them. You could still hear the echo of things that didn't have no voice. And maybe that was the scariest part. Not the monster, not the blood, but how damn quiet it got once it was over. K-Doll climbed up slow, one arm hanging dead-like from the burns, face cracked and tired, mouth twisted up in her usual fuck-the-world scowl. Her hoodie was scorched, her left boot was missing a sole, and her hair looked like it had fought a wildfire and barely limped away. She flopped down beside him, wincing like an old lady with bad knees. "Ain't no birds," she said after a minute. Smoke nodded. "Birds know when to dip." She rubbed at the bandage on her shoulder, grimaced. "Think it's really dead?" Smoke didn't answer right away, just stared at the haze rolling off the treetops in the distance like ghost breath. "I done watched that thing burn, bleed, explode, scream like it had a soul and beg without a mouth, but it still kept moving. That ain't natural." K-Doll lit a cigarette with a scorched Bic lighter, took a long drag. "Ain't shit about this town natural." They both sat quiet again, just breathing, bleeding, thinking, until she broke the silence again. "They really brought the government in?" "Yup. Hazmat and all? Whole fucking circus. Pulled in last night after the pipe bomb blew its guts out. Moved like they knew exactly what they were looking for." She exhaled hard. "So what now?" Smoke cracked his neck. "They clean it up. They say it was a meth lab gone wrong. Blame the bodies on bad dope. Pay off the families that still got heads left to cry over. And then they wipe Bent Horn off the fucking map." K-Doll blinked. "They really think anybody's gonna believe that?" He smirked, bitter. "Truth don't matter when you control the story." She leaned back, watching the clouds. "I ain't forget what it sounded like when that thing was screaming. Like, not pain. Like rage. Like it knew it wasn't supposed to die alone." Smoke felt the chill crawl up his spine, not from the wind, from memory. "Yeah," he muttered. "Like it was calling out." They both fell silent again. This time it wasn't peace. It was waiting. They ain't talked for a long time after that. Just sat up there, high above what was left of Bent Horn like two busted-up gargoyles watching over a graveyard. Then the trucks came, big black ones with no plates. Quiet engines, tires that didn't crunch even when they rolled over broken glass. Out stepped the ones in the suits. Tall, clean-shaven motherfuckers with mirrored shades and clipboards, like death was just another day at the office. Behind them came the gas masks, the rifles, the full suits that made them look like astronauts in hell. They moved through the town with military rhythm, marking houses, tagging bodies, scooping up monster chunks in steel boxes that hissed when they closed. Some of that flesh was still twitching. K-Doll leaned forward, squinting over the ledge. "They got scanners." "EMF readers," Smoke grunted. "Saw 'em on a dock once. Ghost hunter shit." "Shit ain't ghosts. It's worse." One of the suits looked up, met Smoke's eyes through his shades. No nod, no wave. Just a slow reach for his walkie. Smoke stood. Time to go. They dropped down the side, slid into the alley, boots hitting hard on broken bricks, kept to the back streets, ducking low beneath twisted fences and blacked-out windows. Every corner felt like it might whisper their names if they breathed too loud. When they made it back to the junkyard, it was quiet again. Too quiet. The bus was gone. So was the old mattress they used as a stretcher. Even the bloodstains were scrubbed. K-Doll paced in tight circles, her nerves unraveling in real time. They fucking sanitized the whole thing. They making it like we never existed. She stopped, pointed. They missed something. Smoke followed her finger, saw a little blackened skull tag spray painted on the side of a dumpster. Redbone's mark. It was faint, half covered in soot and ash, but it was there. Smoke reached out, touched it. Warm, fresh. His gut twisted. That ain't from before. K-Doll stepped back, eyes wide. Then who the fuck drew it? A buzz filled the air. Low, mechanical, wrong. They turned, saw the drone hovering 10 feet above the fence, red light blinking. Smoke didn't hesitate. Crack. One shot from his pistol, and the drone dropped like a brick, smoking from the shell he jammed into its lens. Alarms didn't go off, but they both knew somebody heard it. K-Doll grabbed his sleeve. We gotta go, now. They cut through the back end of the yard, slid through a broken drainage ditch, and popped out behind the old mill near Route 68. Behind them, black trucks started to circle the shop. Too late. They made it to the train tracks by sundown, long rails stretching off into nothing, grass overgrown, signs half-eaten by rust. Smoke pulled out a wrapped-up cloth from his jacket. Inside was the last piece of the creature, a chunk of its translucent flesh, still faintly pulsing. He dropped it on the tracks. K-Doll blinked. You carried that shit this whole time? Wanted answers. She stared at him. And? I don't think it was alone. The piece twitched once, then stopped. K-Doll pulled her hoodie tighter, wind cutting sharper now. We bury it. Smoke shook his head. No point. He pulled a flask from his belt, poured high-proof liquor on it, then sparked a flare. Flames danced up fast, eating through the meat. It screamed. Not loud, not human. Just a shriek that crawled up the spine and burrowed behind your teeth. They watched till it was ash. Even then, they didn't turn their backs. They hit the tracks for miles, leaving Bent Horn behind like a ghost that finally stopped following. Every so often, they'd hear a chopper above or see lights in the trees. But they knew the pattern now. How to move like shadows, how to disappear when they had to. Ain't nobody ever taught them how to survive what they just survived. But they were still here. Scarred, scorched, fucking changed, but here. 3 towns over, they found an old storm shelter behind a burned-out trailer. Spent the night curled up with rifles and memories neither one wanted to speak on. Every time Smoke closed his eyes, he saw that split jaw screaming, that stomach squirming with swallowed people still begging to die. K-Doll didn't sleep either. Just sat on the floor, knife in her lap, whispering something she ain't explained. Over and over. Like if she stopped, the thing might come back. By morning, they had a plan. They wasn't going to no news outlet. Wasn't trying to be no fucking viral story. They needed new names, new IDs. Shit you only get from the kind of people that don't ask questions, but will kill you if you lie. And they knew just where to go. Atlanta, loud, dirty, alive. They stepped off a Greyhound with nothing but duffel bags and burned history. Found a dive bar with no cameras, paid cash for rooms over the kitchen, roaches in the walls, blood on the mattress. But it was safe. Smoke shaved his beard, dyed his hair. K-Doll cut hers off completely, rocking a beanie and new tats she gave herself with a needle and ink she boiled on the stove. They became people who never lived in Bent Horn, never heard of no creature, never saw guts used like goddamn spaghetti. But every night, before sleep, K-Doll would light a joint, stare at the ceiling and whisper, it wasn't the only one. And Smoke? He kept that last flare next to his pillow, just in case. 2 weeks passed. Bent Horn never made the news. The area got labeled Toxic Zone, and the internet filled with bullshit theories. sinkholes, swamp gas, meth cartel wars. Nobody mentioned the scream. Nobody mentioned the black sludge. Nobody mentioned a creature that ran on all fours and ripped out your insides like it was scooping ice cream. It was like the place never fucking existed, except to the two who got away. One night, while waiting on a burner passport to come through, Smoke got a letter. No stamp, just a blank envelope slid under the door. Inside, a Polaroid of a crater, full of bones. Half the bones were human. The other half weren't. On the back, in smeared red marker, one sentence. This ain't the end. He showed K-Doll. She ain't say nothing, just loaded her pistol, zipped her bag, and said, "Let's ride." The feed book. 1. It don't want your soul. It wants your insides. Latif Amir.